Welcome to Section 6, Video 2, creating our interactable initial base class. In this video, we're going to create our base interactable class. So first we're going to create a new C++ actor of our base actor. Inside of our gameplay elements folder inside of our C++ classes, we're going to create a new class, and it will be of type actor, and we will name it interactable actor. Inside of our interactable actor, we're going to remove almost all the boilerplate coding except for the constructor itself. So we're going to remove tick and begin play, and the primary tick can never tick line of code. And inside of our header file, we're going to do the same thing by just removing begin play and tick. Inside of our interactables header file, here what we are doing is including the interfaces library so we can inherit from it. When inheriting from a class, you have to have the class's library or else it won't properly inherit from it because it doesn't know what it is. So this would be the way that we actually add the class to inherit from. First we would include the library and then add a comma and then public and then the class name, which in this case is INteractionInterface. Don't worry about the errors, these are just IntelliSense not working properly with the class itself. Inside of the actual class, what we are doing is we're overriding our blueprint native event function within the interface that we've described as onInteract, and since it's blueprint native event, the compiler would search for onInteract implementation, which we have defined inside of our subclass, because by default it would be a pure function, and it doesn't have a definition. So we're overriding it, and because this is the first instance of us using it, in the class hierarchy, we don't need to add the override keyword. Let's add our definition. And inside of our source file, inside of the onInteract implementation, we are printing out a debug message for the interaction being called from the interactor, which would be the player. The way that the UE4 macro or UE log macro works is that it will add a message to the output log window that uses a temporary category, and then we mark it as a warning, which makes it yellow inside of our output log so we can easily see it, and then we actually add the log message, or the message that's going to get displayed for the warning. And here we are also using another coding language called Unicode that Unreal supports by adding a variable to our string by using the %s, which in Unicode it would search for a string that is converted to characters. So it'll search for characters, and what we're doing with the comma afterwards is the interactor get name would return a string, or return an f string, and when we add the pointer, what it does is it converts it from a string to a bunch of characters, and then it will search back into our text macro, which is a bit of Unicode in there, and it will search for any %sign and then s, and it will insert that string into that location inside of the string that's already been supplied. For more information on how to use the text and debugging and printing and all that, there is a documentation page on Unreal's documentation website that's freely available explaining about debug messaging. So now let's open up our player's header file, and we're going to also inherit from the interface within our player as well. Here we are adding our player inheriting the interface because we're arbitrarily going to call the onInteract function to other actors, and to do that we have to inherit from the interface for this actor itself. But because of this we would have to add the onInteract function for this class as well, but we don't need to add a definition, which we can also do by just making it a pure function as well. Inside of our protected category, here we are declaring it as before, but compared to our interact actor, we don't need anything to occur on the player, so we make it a pure function. Despite all the warnings and errors, it is just IntelliSense not working properly. We can go back into Unreal and it will compile successfully. As you can see, our code compiled completed, or successfully, and to fix those errors we can actually go back to File, Refresh Visual Studio Project, update our code project, which it's going to do automatically for us. And if we jump back into Visual Studio, we're going to select Reload All, and it will reload IntelliSense for us. Let's also select Save All just in case. And as you can see, our errors are gone, including for the interactable actor. In the next video, we will be setting up our sub-interactable objects.